You might not know that the Three Counties is home to one of the nation's best baseball teams. The Hearts Falcons play their matches at the Grove Hill Ballpark in Hemel Hempstead, the fast becoming one of the country's leading baseball sides. Joe Gray is on the board of the baseball club. He's also a life member of the British Baseball Association, and I'm delighted to say that Joe joins us now. Joe, very good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Well, firstly, when did your own personal interest in baseball begin?
Probably about 10 years ago. Back then, it was shown on free television on Channel 5 late night, and like many students, I stayed up a little bit too late and avoided revision and all of that, and got attached to this game of baseball.
It's not as educational as Countdown. I thought that's what students watched a bit earlier in the day.
Yeah, a bit of alternative entertainment.
Is it an easy game to follow once you know the rules, or not?
It's an easy game to follow at a superficial level, very quickly. There's lots of exciting action, amazingly exciting fielding plays. But it's also a game that rewards the careful student. So while you can appreciate it fairly quickly, you will spend a lifetime learning the subtleties and the nuances. It's a bit like Test cricket in that respect.
I hope you're not offended by this, but how much more advanced than rounders is it?
I wouldn't want to diss rounders. I think in that there's a huge professional league in North America and in Australia and Japan and Cuba, whereas there's no professional rounders players as far as I'm aware. Suggests that it's certainly a lot more sophisticated and developed a sport. But I certainly wouldn't want to diss rounders. But yeah, there's for me, if I was giving my opinion, then it's got greater complexities and.
But it is fair to say it's derived from that game, is it? Or that's the simpler form of baseball?
They both come from the same family tree of sports. There's other versions. An old version played in Wales and Merseyside called English or Welsh baseball, depending where you're playing it, is a kind of cross between cricket and baseball. So there's all sorts of funny sports, but the one we're playing in Hemel Hempstead is very much the American version, but with a British twist, I guess.
Yes, and were you instrumental in setting up the Falcons Club and the Hearts Baseball Club?
I haven't. I can't take any credit at all for that. I think the main man behind that is Aspie Dimitrov, who's just done so many fantastic things to build it up from a small team with the help of many dedicated volunteers working alongside him.
And he's an American, is he?
No, he's European actually, and he's very, very interested in the game. It attracts people from all different nationalities. It's a lovely thing to get involved in because you meet such a mix of cultures and nationalities when you're playing the game.
And so what level do the Hearts Falcons, your first team, play at, and how is this sort of sport structured in terms of leagues in this country?
So there's 4 tiers. Hearts Baseball Club has teams, at least one team in each of the tiers. They've got 2 in the 4th rung, and then 1 in the 3rd, the 2nd, and the top rung. The Hearts Falcons, they play in the top rung, which is the National Baseball League, alongside 8 other teams. These are the best teams in the country. They're focused in the southeast corner of England, and Hearts Falcons currently sit 2nd out of 9 teams. They've never won the league, but they're certainly looking very good this year.
So you've done well so far?
Yeah, it looks like the main rivals they're going to face, London Mets, who are actually unbeaten so far this season. Now they're playing up at Hemel Hempstead at Grove Hill Ballpark tomorrow. Game starting 1 o'clock, although there's going to be baseball on all day because there's these other tiers, so it actually starts at 10 a.m. there. But from 1 o'clock, the National Baseball League events will happen, and they traditionally play 2 games on a Sunday. So that really is a big game. If Hearts win both of them against the team from London, then they'll go joint top at and this is the best league in Britain.
Wow, but are we still in the early stages of the season, so quite a lot of matches still to play?
There's a lot of matches still to play, but it's getting to that stage now where each win is very important, certainly for determining the rankings going into the end of season championships.
And are the players semi-professional? Do they get paid for playing or not?
No, everyone involved in the clubs is an amateur, so they're giving up their time to play. It's not just the players. There's scorers and people who look after the grounds and the facilities and club development staff, but everyone is an amateur.
Are they all from around this area, around the Hemel area anyway?
There's quite a large number of players from Hemel and the towns and cities in that radius. But there are other clubs. It would be unfair not to mention Milton Keynes, who've got teams up there, and also Dawes Hill, near which I believe is Buckinghamshire as well.
Yeah, but you've got several teams, as you say, so it is a growing sport as far as you're concerned in your part of Hearts.
Really, it's just rocketed in the last 10 years from a club with 1 and then 2 teams. It's just now got 5 teams, and also all the little leagues. So this is the future of the game. We're talking about children from the age of 6 to 16 learning the game, and it is. If you can learn it as a child, it makes it a lot easier.
And what is it that grows a sport in the way that you've described, do you think, Joe? Is it getting more media coverage and people seeing the sport played on TV and they think, hey, that looks really exciting, I'd like to try that?
We believe at Hearts that it's through a mix of activities that we can grow it. So it's obviously very valuable to be able to come onto a show such as this to talk about what we love. Through the print media, the websites, obviously that's been a...
Yeah, but is there live coverage of baseball from somewhere in the world with all the satellite TV channels we've got now that people can watch it here?
Yes, it's very... So even if you just want to get into the game as a fan, it's very easy to follow it now. Certainly a lot easier than in the 50s where people had to tune into American Forces network radio to get a game a week if they were lucky. So,
that's right. Well, it's an interesting subject, this, because last week the BBC broadcast the Women's FA Cup final between Arsenal Ladies and Bristol Academy, and we previewed that on this show because Arsenal Ladies play their home games at Boreham Wood, and we spoke to a legend of the game, won over 100 caps for England, Kelly Smith. And when the BBC on its website produced a report of the game, they then invited comments, and there was a whole torrent of abuse, I guess from mainly men and probably sexist men, slagging off the quality of the play and saying, what is the BBC wasting its money on doing, showing this women's sport? Nobody's interested in it. We don't care. Less than 5,000 went to the final, and there was a big debate about what the standard was like, and they slagged it off. And yet, when we had Great Britain playing in the Olympics a year ago, Wembley was full, and I thought the standard was really good, and I thought these critics were being a bit harsh.
Yeah, I guess maybe critics is a charitable description for some of them. I guess everyone's entitled to their viewpoint, aren't they? But I mean, I think it's being involved in sport. That's really the main thing. Being able to follow it or being able to play it. So I think whatever takes your fancy. We're finding that there's an increasing number of people in Hearts who are getting into baseball. But whatever.
And what's the standard? It's not NBL, but it's growing again. Sort of the more people play, is it?
Yeah, it's very competitive. There's a lot of teams of very close standard, and it's certainly a joy to watch. We can't compete with Major League Baseball. We know we're definitely not close to that standard, but it's a game. There's enough decent players around this area,
and you've got enough coaches to be able to coach the sport.
I guess there's pressure on every area of the game in terms of the number of volunteers. Coaching is absolutely crucial. I think we're also looking to start up a softball program as well. So if there's, we'd obviously be interested in someone who can run that and some coaching there. So you're right to mention it. It's a very important aspect.
And you've got a youth baseball program for boys and girls aged between the ages of 6 and 16, and you're inviting people to sign up for the Little League World Series qualification rounds, I believe.
Yeah, this is an amazing event, really, worldwide event. So it culminates in a tournament in America, bringing the best sort of young teams from around the world. To get there, you obviously need regional qualifiers and then national qualifiers and then continental qualifiers. So Hearts are interested in getting teams entered into the regional qualifiers. So that's a really great opportunity. And that, even if you're someone who's new to the game, there's an opportunity to get involved in there as a player. So for age groups, there's one between the ages of 9 and 12 on the 1st of May this year, and also another age group for people between the age of 12 and 14 on the 1st of May. But our youth program covers anything from the ages of 6 to 16, and then it's adults after that.
And yesterday, the International Olympic Committee announced that the 8 shortlisted sports to be considered for entry into the 2020 Olympic Games has been reduced down to 3, and baseball and softball are one of the 3 successful sports, with a final decision being made in September. So that's quite important for you too, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Where the Olympics concerned, if you talk to anyone involved in softball or baseball in Britain, there's always a slightly bitter tone, because we were a couple of days after being awarded the Olympics in London, and there was great excitement. The national teams, I believe, would have got automatic qualification. A semi-permanent facility would have been constructed at Regent's Park, and then it was voted off the programme. And in fact, the British representative, I think, voted against the sport. There's a lot of anti-American feeling, which perhaps contributed to the loss of both sports. So there's always a bit of a bitter feeling if you speak to people in Britain about it, because we feel we were robbed of something that would have been amazing for the development of both sports here. Yeah. But obviously this is a great positive step now again in the right direction, and it may mean that all-important funding, which for a minority sport such as baseball or softball, where there's so little money about, having it reach Olympic status again might be a crucial step.
Well, if you want to see the Falcons, the Hearts Falcons play tomorrow. They've got 2 matches against the London Mets. It starts at 1 o'clock. It's at the Grove Hill Ballpark in Hemel Hempstead, and they're second in the table, as Joe says. So if they win, they will go probably top or joint top. And if you want to know more about the club, it's the heartsbaseball.com, www.heartsbaseball.com. We've made you our Club of the Week, and I think that our sports guys full-time, Jeff Doyle and Luke Ashmead, are coming to play the game and feature that on their Monday night show very soon as well, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks very much for having us.
Pleasure.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
And great talking to you. Maybe we'll follow that through and talk to you again later in the series this summer. Joe Gray on the board of the Hearts Baseball Club, also a life member of the British Baseball Association. Yeah, check it out tomorrow, OK? Grove Hill Ballpark in Hemel. The Falcons play the London Mets starting at 1 o'clock, OK? And don't forget, Jeff Doyle and Luke Ashmead with you on a Monday night with an hour of sport after Roberto Perroni. That's at 6 through till 7. Hearts Baseball Club, our Club of the Week. Good, yeah, shout it from the rooftops, Billy.